But I feel as though like we've really dealt with this one like thoroughly. So I guess maybe we could just like look at some of the side effects of toxic masculinity in a sense, and I guess maybe you guys could list something off the top of your head. I guess the most obvious one will be misogyny. I guess intimidation in a sense, like you just feel entitled to
exactly to get around a woman or to a woman's body, you feel entitled to it.
Exactly.
Have you seen the guys? Usually the guys who the construction workers.
Exactly.
If a lady passes there, they will be whistling and catcalling. I really hate that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that happens a lot.
But you tell me what, this thing is actually like, hey, it's like a norm these days. Well, obviously a bad norm. Because it turns out there was this video last week, I'm not sure, was it last week or last week? Where like an Uber guy was like stalking this girl. Like, I think it was in Dalbo.
I saw that.
Like this Uber guy was like following women around. Like I don't know why he was doing that, but it turns out like the Uber guys also like doing this catcalling thing. Like where if a girl gets inside the Uber alone, then they start making a pass at the girl and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. So I guess maybe we just have to be. So you see, normally there's just like a fine line between what's right and what's bad, right?
Yeah.
So let's look at catcalling in a sense, right? In of itself, I feel like, well, it's bad, but I think it comes from a sincere
place.
Also, let's not say that. Let's not say it comes from a sincere place, because it's not going to be like, okay, people want to do it, like. But I'm just saying, like, maybe it's something intended to be right, but then just goes some way to the side in a sense, right? So here's what I'm thinking, because it's like if you look at women, right?
So why do you feel like guys do it first? Let me just ask that. Right?
I feel like we respond to women as we should.
How do you mean?
What do you mean now?
Like if you are to see a pretty girl, you are to respond in a likely manner. Not like maybe, you see, I'm saying catcalling is just the extreme end of doing it, and it's uncomfortable.
So
what I feel like it's like if,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking though. Like, what is the intended way? Like you're saying that catcalling is someone trying to do something good, but it comes out skewed, right? So what was the intention of it?
Oh well, no, not the intent. Not the intent. What I'm saying is that it's just playing on your potential. So it's like you see a girl that's nice, you respond to it. How you respond to it is now what we now, must decide whether or not it's bad. And we've already decided that catcalling is bad, right?
So what makes catcalling bad? That is
it makes the woman uncomfortable most of the time. Because it's like now if 30 niggas are going to be like, yeah, let's see and stuff like that. It gets them uncomfortable because it's like,
Okay, so like, what is the aim of the guy? Yes, we understand that it's bad because it makes the person feel like, wow, this person is basically sexually objectifying me, right? Making me very uncomfortable. But what is the intention from the person saying it? Why do guys do it to begin with? Because I've never really understood the concept.
No, I don't understand catcalling. I understand the response to women though, because it's like what you do after having seen something is on you. Right, so it's like if you're gonna catcall a girl, then that's on you. That says a lot about the kind of person you are, right? But I feel like in a more respectable manner, you could just go to the girl and maybe if you actually like the girl, so it's like it's gonna be confusing now if you should not go to a girl that you like.
You know what I think? I think from a woman's perspective, I feel like they're being sexualized when they're being catcalled. That's what I
want that.
Are you sure?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like it's like when somebody's gonna be wearing a short dress. What's that for? It's display. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's a form of display. Unforced do it.
But
women do it, but I guess it's like the way that you do it.
Display of what? Display of what?
Their bodies. What do you think? So what do you think the purpose of having a short skirt is? Just aeration, so you're not hot.
Exactly. If it's sunny,
so we might as well.
So the thing is, there's always more than one possibility, right? There's a possibility that the person wants attention, right? Because if you think about it, the reason why people wear short things when they go to clubs to begin with is to get attention, because that's what clubs were made for back in the days, right? It was a place where people meet people, and then you're more likely to get someone interested in you. And obviously, you try to optimize your chances of getting someone there by being presentable. And that's why guys get dressed up the specific
No, I don't want to sound like an animal here. What I'm just saying is that, people do things for a reason. It's like if you look at older women now, do they present a lot? the same way that younger women do.
That's what
they don't, because it's like, I think
they're
past
that
exactly
phase now of searching.
Exactly. That's why I feel as though it's like, at a certain point, women do enjoy the attention. I was thinking, I was listening to this person telling me about Steph Curry and the chick. I don't know. Is it Steph Curry? I'm not too sure, but some popular NBA star, right? It got to a point where he was getting all the attention, right? And everybody gets excited when that person comes. I don't know if it's Dwayne Durant or something like that. I'm not too sure, but anyway, one of those guys, right? And then now it's like when this guy's woman gets on one of these TV shows, right? She now goes on and says like, sometimes I just crave the attention. I would like for people to just notice me in a sense, because it's like, well, this guy is popular obviously because he's the football player, right? A basketball player, but nobody's taking notice of me.
You see, I suppose people do want to be noticed in life, bro. Which now brings me to this one thing again. Because, like, women complain, right? They say that, well, let's say guys actually complain, right? That women wear short things, right? And that stuff is enticing. Which is true.
No, we should not complain about that. I don't think we should be complaining about
wait, let me just get to my point first and finish, right?
Okay.
I'm just saying that by nature, we are enticed when you see someone's thighs or butt or whatever, right? Because we are sexually attracted to women. Well, not all of us. Obviously, there's also the spectrum is widened. But like my point is, some guys anyway. Let me not say every guy. Some guys complain, right? And they justify that as to why they objectify women, and even rape sometimes is justified using such things, right?
Which is mad.
Which is like crazy. In a way, right? Yeah. I suppose as a person you're supposed to just like control your own actions. I suppose that's the only thing you can control. What you do.
Yeah. Of course,
what you do, right? But now, the thing is, bro, like, where do you think this comes from, though?
The what?
This thing of guys, how can I put this thing?
Being enticed?
Not really being enticed. Being enticed is genetics.
It's normal. That's what I thought, yeah.
Right?
That's what I thought myself, yeah.
Right, but then this...
Your response.
The response that people normally have towards people when they wear short things. I mean, you can be enticed and still be like, they just...
yeah, well, I guess it's like a sense of entitlement.
In a form of wanting to rape someone or sexual violating someone.
No, I guess maybe that would be the extreme sense, right?
And the catcallings and stuff.
The catcalling will be like maybe the very basic. Somewhat not, normally that's not what you call it, like.
Because the thing is, you said earlier, right? Because it's a call and response type of thing, right? That's what you were saying earlier. The guys do the catcalling because it's like a type of call and response. So do you feel like guys take it as a form of a call when a girl is walking around with a short skirt? Like, we should be saying something now.
Well, in general,
it's a call, man.
So that they feel like they didn't notice.
What I'm just saying is that I think it's a call, but maybe normally, like with anybody, she obviously has preferences, right? And there are boundaries, right? So it's like if she's going to display, she's not displaying such that any and everybody can feel entitled over her body. It's not like, now I'm out there for everybody to do whatever they please with me. It's like a thing where everybody has to pitch their proposal, man. If you're going to see a girl that's nice and she's presenting in however way, then you should just go preach your proposal. If that doesn't work out, that's it, bro. Just walk on.
Don't force it.
Yeah, because it's like...
So basically what you're saying is now catcalling... Because catcalling...
There's no desired end if you think about it. What are you doing by catcalling? Are you going to be girlfriends with that girl after having catcalled somebody from afar?
I don't know.
You see, so it's like, I don't...
But the thing is, so the best approach now would be to approach the person in a more respectable manner. I suppose that's the end goal in this way. Yes, she is doing a call and response type of thing, right? But your approach, your response to the call in a way is bad because of how you're presenting.
What you feel inside, I don't think anyone can police that. You see, obviously, if you're gonna have sexual feelings because of what you've seen, then that's on you. But I mean, the way that you present.
So Messiah, help us in this land. Help us now in this case. So what is the proper method now for cats now to, indulge in catcalling? What would be the...
No, we cannot catcall anybody now.
No, don't.
Yes, no,
so
it's
so
true,
the way that it's
out
there is like...
What is the best thing? Like, what's
the best response?
Yes, to that.
I guess, I think that's what we've always done in the past, man. Because we just like, you look at somebody and then you think about it. Do you want to pursue this person in a real sense, right? And even if it's now socially accepted to just sleep around nowadays, right? Even girls do that nowadays.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess, everybody has certain values by which they go by, right? So I mean, you go to the person, speak to her, in a respectful manner. You will pick signs, or she might say how far she is willing to,
to engage with you.
To engage with you. Mm-hmm. If it's just that she takes the compliment and walks, that's fine, and that's that. Leave it at that. But now, if you're gonna be like, I'm soon what?
Then that's the problem.
Exactly.
So basically, the problem now becomes entitlement, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like some people become bitter when they get rejected.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's where the rape thing comes into play, and people get aggressive, swear at women, and even beat up.
Exactly. So if somebody is presenting, it's not to say it's for you. I mean, how many people out there in the planet, and you're just going to be egotistic to the point that you're going to say, she was presenting for me, I need her now, I must have her.
But I wonder though, such people though, like, because for me, it's almost like absurd. Like, why are you mad? I mean, if you go to someone, especially a girl, chances are the person, it's a 50-50 game.
Yeah, it's not even 50-50. Most of the time you get rejected.
Most of the time, right? That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
yeah, of course.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where the problem starts. You start to get aggressive.
Yes,
That's where the person might
the failure to process those emotions, I guess, is a problem.
So what could be the cause? Because for me, the way I'm thinking of it, it could be that the person is taking it as a knock towards his self-esteem, right?
I guess.
Because I don't see why you'd be mad at someone rejecting you.
Also,
it hurts.
Before I get to the causes,
it's okay.
Sorry, man. I will get to your point.
Yes.
Before I get to the causes, let's also get back to where does this emanate from.
That's what I'm trying to
that'll be the cause.
I actually saw a post, someone saying that God created man, and then he saw that the man was bored, and then he created a woman out of his rib, so that the man.
It's the balance, right?
So that the man can have someone by his side. So. If you take it from that concept,
thought,
that's a toxic thought.
That's a toxic thought because
a woman is just here to entertain you.
For as long as
you can do whatever you want to do with a woman.
I mean, it's like I've heard of things like I've heard of certain instances where somebody says like, "Nah, bro, I don't think you're gonna enjoy with that one. She's too awake."
You see?
Exactly. So it's like obviously she knows what she wants. So it's like I mean she can't just be out there to please.
But so are you saying that the entitlement itself can be influenced by things like the Bible?
Exactly. I think so. Yeah. Such ideas.
And also patriarchy, the culture itself, also influences how as men we think of women.
Yeah, because I've noticed that it's always women who are being controlled, not guys.
Yeah.
Because women always complain that they are not allowed to walk around freely with their bosom out.
Even from a young age.
Whereas guys, you can do whatever, really.
Even from a young age, your parent told you, okay, your sister is going to go to the kitchen and cook and do the dishes while you are just sitting on the couch and drinking.
Yeah, that happens also,
That's from cultural perspective.
But suppose that comes from the general thing.
Yeah, of course, in a sense, yeah. But I guess that's where it gets confusing because I don't understand why your mom will continue doing that if she saw it as a really big problem back in the day. Because it's like, in a sense, I mean, she ought to be somewhat intelligent to a certain point. Well, to say that, I mean, you can't have that. Well, I grew up in a family where I was actually washing dishes and still do the manly stuff.
Wash dishes and that's why I try not to go home. So.
And still do the manly stuff alone.
Well,
yeah,
like cutting grass and stuff like that. That's for you alone.
That was me. I used to
when it comes to the dishes,
with my hands, bro, like kicking it from the floor.
To counter your point about why would your mom not speak against whatever that's gonna make you toxic one day. I think it's also about coming from a patriarchy background.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So you can't really...
Yeah, especially the trauma.
I think she's sort of, in a way, preparing you for what her view of the world. This is what the world is, and this is what you
so
need
you can
to
know your place?
So not necessarily so you can know your place, so you can survive, man. Because then, I suppose you can say...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be to know your place. Obviously, if you're going to stay outside of that, you might find harm.
Yeah, you can be an outcast in a way.
Exactly.
You won't fit in somehow.
Before we can go on again, I just want to clarify that gender role doesn't have to do with that gender. Gender roles depends on who has more experience, whatever is a problem in that aspect.
So we should not call them gender roles then. Yeah, because once we say gender roles, then that means like...
It applies to a certain gender.
Because the thing is also, I mean, in the social sciences nowadays, I mean, it's like people are gender fluid in a sense. So it's like, you could wake up one day doing manly stuff and then, the next day you're doing feminine stuff and stuff like that. So it's like, I guess in your relationship, if that's acceptable, and I guess maybe we should accept that and say that whoever has the ability to do anything, they should just do it. I think that's the point that you're trying to bring across, right?
I understand that, but it's still called gender roles for what? For a reason though, why?
Why?
Because of the past, right? It was an expected role
yeah,
that a specific person was supposed to play.
Okay, so maybe did we answer this question?
Sure.
Is traditional masculinity and toxic masculinity synonymous? That's what I would like to know, because it's like, obviously much of what happens now draws inspiration from what happened back in the day.
I don't think it is. I think the conclusion we got to was there are specific traits that are necessary back in the days that are no longer necessary now, right?
Okay.
The problem is some people are not able to adjust to the times.
Okay.
Yeah,
so they still carry things that they don't need from the past.
No, it was important that we, work together hand in hand like that.
Yeah, but I think the main cause that we said was people with fragile masculinity normally present traits of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, we spoke
due to
about
overcompensation. I think that was the conclusion we got to.
All right. So I guess maybe we can now speak about the causes of toxic masculinity, right? So we spoke about that. But I guess maybe we can just maybe be a bit more scientific about it, maybe things that are being said out there that cause people to be like this. In a sense, so we've spoken about traditional masculinity, right? And it being a predictive entity in how we are now. Because we know what man used to do back in the day, regardless of their circumstances. And the circumstances have changed now, right? That's what we were speaking about now. We just spoke about that now. So we can speak about things like maybe absent or abusive fathers in a sense.
Do you think that leads to masculinity?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
That is what causes.
So I guess maybe in that sense we are now walking into the path of, what can I say, maybe neurodevelopmental disorders or, psychotic behavior and stuff like that. So maybe that's where we're going to now.
When the abused become the abuser.
Exactly.
Look, what I can say is I'm gonna tackle the causes from perspective of sexual violence. I don't know if you guys wanna take it from another angle, but I've read a few articles where it says men raped because of evolved psychological mechanism, which are housed in the brain, and then they are presented as behaviors, as what we do. So the article, this one article that I've read, it was written by psychologists. They say that there are different types of rapists. The first one is the disadvantaged. The ugly looking niggas. I'm not gonna say ugly, but
I think that ties down to what I was asking earlier that you didn't generally answer. Remember when we spoke about the guy who approaches the girl and then gets rejected and gets mad? So that was what I was asking. Why are you getting mad? Because rejection is normal. Everyone gets rejected. Why are you taking it like that?
Because it's disadvantage. Because rejected all over it goes.
Yeah.
So it just.
Well, I think that's where the sweating thing and the anger now that he's been holding on inside.
I say, yeah.
And then it becomes, aggressive and then start to rape because it's not gonna get this thing. Okay. And the second one is the specialized one, where they
specialized. He's an assassin. He lives for the shit.
It's tough.
That one is aroused by violent sex.
So there are people who are kinky like that.
You just want to rape people. And the opportunistic one is where you see the opportunities. Like, let's say if there's war in a certain place, that people are focusing on that war. Then
it's just happened that
they
saw an opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Also, the specialized one is someone who's going to become more like a serial rapist.
Yeah.
He finds pleasure in just doing it.
Exactly.
So he's almost like a psychopath in some way.
Psychopath,
He finds no guilt. He just does it.
He just does it out of. It's normal to him.
But then I suppose that would tie into now some of the causes of toxic masculinity to be in general now. That your genetics in yourself, you just find the pleasure in doing that. Like psychopaths would be like that, right?
Yeah.
They find no. It's almost like I want this thing. She's not willing to give it to me, but I have the means to get it.
And
I don't feel guilty for doing it.
So, because maybe we're not gonna go so much into what causes somebody to be a psychopath, I guess, because it's obviously there's early childhood upbringing and stuff like that. So obviously,
but actually, I think it's important to dissect it though.
Which are the traumas?
Yeah, because I feel like they always say there's two types of psychopaths, right? A psychopath and a sociopath. But they are both psychopaths. But the way they come to be is different.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So the fourth one is high end mating, which is the guy who's aggressive and dominant, and he wants to have high bodies.
What is that?
Body count.
Body count.
Oh, I see.
That's what I want to.
Hey.
So this is the guy who takes girl to date and buy girls nice things, and then if he's rejected, then he forces himself to to rape.
Oh, I see.
So that's a high ending mate.
But I think that's one of the cultures that we perpetuate as men.
Exactly.
Yeah, we inherited from the
we
past
feel
as well.
entitled.
Yeah,
It goes back to entitlement.
You're just gonna feel whack if you went to a date with somebody.
You've only slept with one person your entire life.
Or if you go on a date and then, it doesn't end in sex. Sometimes you feel
Yeah,
like, I've spent too much here.
Too much
what
money,
is going on?
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you feel entitled to you first yourself.
Exactly, yeah. That's toxic.
But what's the cause of that though?
I don't know. I think it's one of these many things that you're spoken about. So it's like, you could either fall into any of these 4 personalities that this guy has just explained now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I feel like if you're a psychopath, regardless of the situation, you're gonna rape at any point. Like, did the date go well? Did it not? You're gonna rape.
No, I mean still. Like in cases of that type of personality.
Which one? Which one?
The one that just wants body count.
I think it has to do with society.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I think that's where.
But where is the need coming from? That's what I want to know.
Huh?
Then I suppose it goes back to our evolutionary tree. Though.
Which one?
This thing of body counts and stuff like that. Because I always wonder what's the fascination about this body count.
Conflicting with many
women.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And then when they reject you, that's when you force yourself into it.
Yeah, I guess.
And the 5th one, the last one, is partner crime. Partner rape, where it has to do with sperm count. If you feel like your partner is cheating with someone and you feel like, that nigga maybe his sperm count is higher mobility than yours, and then you just force yourself into.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's cool.
Wow, I never really thought of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So when I read about you, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Sperm count?
Yeah.
Niggas really think about things, nah. Wow.
Yeah, no, that happens, man. I think it's. I think maybe the more you think deeply about it, you might, see and realize that some of these traits in some of your friends or stuff like that, it just.
But when you really think about it.
You do see these things happening, man.
Honestly, for me, I've never really had people that are close to me who have been either raped or who have raped people, honestly. So I don't really have like a personal experience of such things in my life.
Of course.
Though I have, of course, now because it's so prevalent, you see it all the time. But now that I'm actually thinking about it, bro, this toxic masculinity for me, besides, if you take away people who are born psychopaths, right? Like those people now who find pleasure in raping people, right? If you think about it, most people who become, who start developing these traits of toxic masculinity, to me it seems like they have some form of trauma, like a type of PTSD, For example, if you speak about this guy who has been rejected so many times, and eventually gets mad at the start, right? Why, the way I think about it, it's almost like there's an expectation of you. By nature, you're supposed to get someone by a specific age, right? People are expecting you to have a wife, have a girlfriend. Now, because you feel like you're failing in your purpose, that stuff in itself is leaving scars in your head because your peers are going to make fun of you. At home, people might be making fun of you because you are ugly, because that's normally what happens. When you're still kids, people start making fun of you. You're being taunted for being ugly. And now as you get older, you're sort of trying to pursue this thing of proving, even if I'm ugly, I can still get a girl. And this thing, you don't get the girl. And this thing is weighing on you mentally.
Yeah, that's true.
It starts driving you to start doing things, or because of desperation, you start doing things you're not supposed to do. And you're holding on to whatever these traumas inside of you are that you're not expressing. You're not getting help for them. You start becoming this.
I think actually the disadvantaged man where the ugly nigga can't get a girl at the high-end meeting where you just want body counts actually goes hand in hand. Because you can see that, hey, this nigga is my friend and he's getting more girls than me. And I'm at a disadvantage and I can get more. So I must try to find a way,
I must prove. I can also do it.
I think just before this talk, I found this article, right, where they was starting to say that it seems as though religious families, children born in religious families, are bound to be 18% healthier in being partners to everybody and stuff like that. So it's like, it appears as though, I don't know what it is that's in these religious families. You could maybe understand things like maybe it could be kind of religious practices that they go on about and stuff like that. So it's like they feel this sense of fulfillment in a sense. So it's like there's not a lot lacking.
You see,
in them. They say that stuff, right?
I can see that though. And actually now when you started speaking about that, I was about to ask, do you feel like that the ways that we did things back in the days, well, now I'm saying we were not there, but I mean like our ancestors, our clans, basically, the way we did things culturally, whereby when you get to a specific age, people start even having like arranged marriages. Do you think such things were done to avoid such things like, like the ugly nigga not getting a wife and now being bitter in life?
It could be.
Yeah, it could.
I don't know.
It makes sense.
I mean, because I never understood why it was done back in the days. But now that I'm actually engaged in this conversation, I'm starting to see why certain things were done back in the days.
Yeah, in a sense. I guess maybe people do like a quick study and see like how things are happening, and then it might be toxic in a certain way. So it's like I'll draw like part of this text from what do you call it, Chinua Achebe, right? So that's
you can read from Chinua Achebe.
Yeah, dog. Like it's so this book, man.
Things Fall Apart.
Things Fall Apart, exactly. So one of the main figures in there, Okonkwo, right? So it's like he's held to be like possibly like the epitome of masculinity in a sense, right? So it's like.
Yeah, but it doesn't end well for that guy.
It doesn't end well for him, right? Because obviously, what are the two things that we can get from that? Is that society did not approve of what he was doing. Mm-hmm. So I guess maybe the one thing that I want to say now is that most of the time we have this thing where, should I say the story like just in bits?
You can say it in summary.
Okay. Yeah. So he had a father, right? Like, the kind of father that would be like, let's say, a musician or like a hippie, basically. But then the thing is, with that father, he was irresponsible, so he obviously lost a lot of money doing that. So it's like he was an embarrassment to the society in a sense. Mm-hmm. So it's like Okonkwo, this central figure, right, was always wanted by that. So everywhere this guy went, he's always carrying that name around, like the son of a failure and stuff like that. So it's like it came to a point where I'll say his toxic masculinity came from
failures of his father.
Fear to fail. Being the same as his father, right? So it's like, so he does these things where he constantly tries to be at the extreme end of masculinity, right? And sees feminine traits as weakness, in a sense. So he doesn't approve of any of that. He even gets to a point where he killed one of his stepsons just to prove a point.
Yeah.
And that, he can do it because he's the man. So it's like, you see how toxic that became. So it's like, but now we get to the end where he's exiled for having done that. He also beat up his wife to the point of almost killing her, right? So it's like, you can see the extent of the toxic masculinity in this guy.
Yeah, this is actually a very good book, to reference to it in the
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, now, so the point that I'm trying to drive across is about society. So I was going to get to the point where I was going to say, society itself exiled this guy for being too masculine, in the sense that he cannot see what's right and wrong, only that which is masculine, right?
Which stems from his own traumas as well.
His own trauma as well. So we go back to this trauma thing that we're talking about. But in all of this, society is not approving of it. They do see that this is whack. We can't continue to have this, in a sense. So it's like, I feel as though, which is why I brought up this article that I just told you about, right? So it seems as though in societies where people are actually trying to seek to understand what's happening, it might be much better than for us to just let people leave however they leave, in a sense, and most of the time in religious practices, there's like a manual of how you should leave. You're constantly not even trying to figure out how to leave, because the book now says, no, don't do this, do that. All right? In a sense, so I guess maybe that's where they're coming from. So it's like, maybe there are things that are written after some sort of study. In a sense, I can't say it's perfect, it's not. Obviously, it can't stand the test of time. Some things will fall by the wayside, right? But it does seem as though, like, families where there is some sort of social order there, exactly. Obviously the parents have gone through so much, they understand what's going to be beneficial for the child and what's going to be, in a sense. So I feel as though society right now seems like it's broken. I guess maybe that's where we should start building from.
But so in essence, what you are saying is that from a violent side, toxic masculinity is the root cause is probably the traumas. The past traumas.
I think it's the traumas and the way we are brought up. Like,
exactly.
Because the way you're brought up gives you a specific view of a view of the world and expectations. Yeah, when you start having expectations.
Yeah. Remember those three layers that we were talking about before? We started this thing about, like, it starts with your inherent capability as a person to accept new ideas and process it. Your immediate family and their ideas, whatever, church and whatever, those things build you. And then your immediate community also, right? So those are the three factors that build a person, right? So if your society is racist, you could have all these nice things, but then at the gross, what do you call it? At the global community, you probably are not such a desirable person because of that. You see, but I guess you can counter that. You might actually not be a racist person because of your innate build as a person, right? So obviously, if you come from a place where no, this is a deplorable idea, I'm not gonna go.
Can I just before we stretch the conversation a bit too much, can I just ask two questions? The first one is, okay, let's for example draw from the Okonkwo's story and how it ends, right? Obviously, we know that he's exiled, but he eventually comes back, right? He eventually dies because he kills himself in the end, right? But now, if you really look at his story, though, the reason why he became the way he was because of the society around him and the expectations that people normally have on him, right?
Exactly.
Which normally what I see, the traumas that really make people to do like very bad things is because of this fear of being a failure in society, being looked at as a failure, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, in essence though, like, what do you guys feel like would be the best approaches to take to help people overcome the toxic masculinity that seems to be prevalent?
Well, first of all, you just have to, we have to talk about these things. Those difficult talks, we have to have those talks amongst our friends. Even the jokes, J. Cole once said, cool jokes contain true shit. Even if you throw a joke about women, I should call you on that. I should say no to it. That's actually not good enough. That's where we start. And then our young ones who are coming after us, we should also mold them into a society where they don't get to be exposed in that side of their masculinity. That's where we start. We have to talk about these things before we can go to a bigger picture. That's how I feel it has to come to me.
So it's nurture, basically.
That's what I think. I guess maybe, the way that I would go about it is if we thought about the things that we say that are at fault here, like especially in the case of Okonkwo, where his thing was fear of failure, basically, and the shame, rejection and the shame that comes along with being rejected in society, right? So it's like, but where does that come from? I feel like, in a sense, with things like vulnerability, you get to walk the walk of shame and understand your situation, and it might actually not be as bad as you think, or it might actually be, you can overcome it somehow. Because it's like, I feel as though, that's where most of us stand. We don't want to do certain things, or we feel offended by certain things because of this myth that we have. Let's say if your girl cheated, and then the myth just says girls can't cheat unless if they're in love with the other person that they are with. That's another myth, right?
Yeah, it is.
So that's not going to be easy to win.
It's a hurdle thing.
It is.
Yeah. But my question now, okay, before we finish this.
No, let me quickly finish that.
Okay.
So it's like, you're not going to accept that. In a sense, so I feel like, with vulnerability, you get to share certain things and say, okay, well, this thing is hurting me. You just won't be standing in a position of pride and just say like, put sack, go away, or you start beating somebody because of that. It's like you understand, okay, well, this thing hurts me. Why does it hurt me? In a sense, so you walk the walk of shame, in a sense, right?
But the thing is, bro, the reason why I'm saying this walk of shame, the walk of shame is not an easy walk to take.
Of course, yes.
I know. But the thing is, like, do you guys feel like, because for me, I always feel like, I know that women, there's like high expectations for them, right? Especially with the whole gender role things and all of that stuff, right? Which is cool, but now things have changed, right? Especially with this whole movements that are happening nowadays,
exactly,
equality and all of these things.
Yeah, technological advancements as well,
Yeah.
But you feel like the world pays as much attention to men as they do female mental health care? Because I feel like the mental health of men has never been something that people really care about. Because I feel like there's a lot that men have to carry, man, burden-wise. Like as we've discussed right now, we've seen that the expectations that are on men are just as high as the expectations that are there on ladies. But it's even worse for you because you are the provider. So if your family fails, all the blame doesn't go to the lady. It actually comes to you because you were supposed to be the provider to begin with. And I feel like maybe that's where the trauma really comes to play for guys, because it feels like everything is here, man. It's on my shoulders. if I don't do this thing, I'm the failure. If I don't get a wife, I'm a failure. If I don't do this, I'm a failure.
And on top of that, we as guys, we don't talk about such things. So it just piles up, and when you're working, it piles up.
But the thing is now,
and then when we explode on someone else.
Like I saw a meme.
I think we also need to talk about that.
Yeah, I think like that could be one of the solutions to help overcome masculinity.
But yeah, so back to the question where we are now starting to say, does the world give attention to men that much when it comes to issues like that? So I'm starting to think like
mental health wise.
Mental wise, yeah, exactly right. So I feel as though like this is possibly a matrix that we created as men, in a sense, because obviously if we have these expectations for ourselves and say this is what a man is supposed to be, the minute you start falling short of that,
a man doesn't
exactly.
Yeah.
The minute you start falling short of that, then it's not easy for you to just come out in the open and say, bruh, I'm struggling. You know, because obviously we've said that you are less of a man if you present with these qualities. You know, exactly. If you fall short, then sucker. You know, possibly, I don't know what kind of training you should go through. So it's like, I feel as though, in a sense...
But who created the matrix though? Because you're saying we created it for ourselves. The thing is, we are born into a society that...
Yeah, but we perpetuate certain ideas. That's the problem. If we were very innocent, we would not carry on certain ideas and say these are, you know, this is the standard of life. Because I personally, I will attest, I'm possibly one of those people that think I'm extremely masculine. You know, so but that's because I picked up an idea from the past generation and I still feel like I should uphold it.
Yeah.
So it's in the same thing with Okonkwo, right? Like he knew traditional masculinity in the way that it was and thinks that's the only way to go forward. And here's the catch, like here's the his downfall. His pride and what do you call it? He deceived himself because it seemed to work because he grew from poverty
and became
to a place of prestige because of what he did. So it's easy to deceive yourself and think that no, this is the way to go about it. You know, so it's like, and that is sold as the American dream or whatever, like, you know, prestige and stuff like that. Of course, yeah. You know, if you're a man, you ought to be somebody that pursues a purpose and succeeds, right? In that sense. So it's like that's virtue. And then now you start thinking, why is it that certain people achieve these things? Now you start thinking it's because they were like extremely masculine.
And if you're not going to achieve.
You're not going to achieve. So I guess maybe that's the problem. You see, so it's like.
So basically, it goes back to normalizing men having emotions in a way. Because the thing is, you have to take it back in the days, man. There are reasons why people didn't show emotions, right?
Yeah,
as you said, you had to be the alpha. In a way, because that's what determines your chances of succeeding in life and mating as well.
That's true.
Right. So that's why people would always be, hard as a rock.
And then we didn't evolve from that to accommodate
the time, the
current circumstances.
Yeah, and I think that's why people get so mad when they're challenged by women. Because back in the days, you were supposed to just be the one.
Exactly.
If like you say something, that's it. You're the man and you're the dominant, and that's why. When the family fell apart, it was you. Because you were the one who was in charge of the whole.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Which is now different. It's different. Because now it's like 50-50. Now you have to somehow lower some of the things that used to be too high to sort of balance out, I don't know what.